We're back with a rematch of yesterday's players, although the factions are very different. Rider Rohan out for revenge with his dreaded triple Swordmasters. Yes, we've got 3 Swordmasters here, and they're ready to take on Slaanesh, once again piloted by Pigman. So let's take a look at the builds here. Yeah, I mean, there's 3 Swordmasters. What else to say? Archmage of Life on a Dragon, some Spearmen, and Fireborn, and more Dragon Princes. So very tall build from Rider Rohan once again for the High Elves. For Slaanesh, it's all whips in the front line, mix of Chosen, Chaos Warriors with Sigvald. Looking for a tank build here, it would seem. Chaos Knights of Slaanesh. One with lances, one without. No? Yeah, neither with lances? Okay, Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh makes sense. And that's pretty much it. So both going with kind of tall elite builds. Slaanesh definitely looking to just grind it out with those poisoned whips and the constant buffs from Lore of Slaanesh and the damage from it as well, of course. Sigvald also grinding. Whereas the Swordmasters, they're down. That's all to say. They're down. They're absolutely down for this turn of events. And we're going to see an immediate regrowth pop in the front line on those Swordmasters. Just try and keep as many of their unit models alive as possible. Dragonborn and Swordmasters charging in and just cleaving the front line of Chaos Warriors. The Chosen are going to fare better. I don't know. It doesn't look like one Chosen matched up in the center there. Ooh, nice little bombardment. Yeah, one Chosen in the center against the Swordmasters. They're not necessarily faring all that much better, but let's see here. Dragon charges in there, and we've got the Knights trying to work potentially around the flank, looking for an opportunity, but kind of just pulling back for now, allowing the Chaos Warriors to work on those spears, which is certainly an engagement that will go a little bit better for Slaanesh. Likewise, the Fireborn are actually kind of struggling in this engagement against the Knights of Slaanesh, but let's see. The thing about Dragon Princes against Slaanesh is you basically just remove the physical resistance, right? Because pretty much, well, I guess not all Slaanesh units deal magic damage. That's more of a Tzeentch thing, but maybe less of them than I thought. For some reason, I thought Knights of Slaanesh also did magic damage. I guess they don't. Maybe their physical resistance actually is pretty good here, then, to help resist some of the damage. But, yeah, Dragon's going to come land on Sigvald, try and snipe him out. We do see a Fascination getting popped, or Pavane, rather, on the Fireborn, which immediately draws them into melee combat. But the Swordmasters definitely just feasting right now in terms of frontline value. This other one getting ready to hit out at that Chosen unit. And this is potentially slightly more favorable situation for the Chosen. They didn't necessarily get like a heads-up charge. The way this engagement is kind of spaced. Excuse me. Spring allergies are really kicking my ass, guys. Yeah, the way the engagement's kind of spaced out here, it's, I don't know, Chosen, well, let's see how they do in the long term. Definitely remains to be seen, but they're trading better, certainly, in this engagement than in others. Might be able to pull this back a little bit, and the balance of power actually liking Slaanesh quite a bit right now. Another regrowth being popped here this time. Oh, it's again on the Swordmasters, okay. Absolutely spectacular. Yeah, Swordmasters against Chosen of Slaanesh, too, a very stylish infantry. Nice purple sky in the background. The lighting isn't the best to actually see what's going on, but the mood, the vibes are definitely 10 out of 10 for sure. So let's keep the flags up so we can actually tell what the heck is going on here. Yeah, Spearmen getting the support from the Dragon, trying to fight those Chaos Warriors. The Swordmasters also, yeah, this is an engagement they could trade well in, but I think they're going to try and path out potentially and not get rear charged by those Knights. Let's see here. Swordmasters matched up against Sigvald is pretty ideal for the High Elves. If they can get a surround on him, they'll deal a lot of damage. I mean, it's going to be bad news for Sigvald. One of the few infantry units, actually, that can actually take him down if they get a surround on him, like, in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, we'll see. Slaanesh Knights here trying to battle out those Dragon Princes. Definitely could collapse here and come to Sigvald's aid. Again, he's not going to die instantly, but the Swordmasters will be able to actually do it. It's quite impressive. Going to see another Pavane here as those Dragon Princes. Yeah, they're going to get completely finished off by that Pavane. That might have been a little bit overkill, actually. I'd probably be Pavaning these Swordmasters here that are close to their healing cap. I mean, yeah, those Dragon Princes, I think, probably would have been dead anyway. So, I mean, it's a valuable use of Winds of Magic. And these Swordmasters need killing. Like, there's nothing really in this Slaanesh build. I mean, I guess he's going to try and rely on these Chaos Knights in the late game, but I don't know. I don't know that I would necessarily trust that enough. See an Earthblood over here, healing up some of those Fireborn, other Swordmasters as well. So, yeah, I mean, if we take a look, all three Swordmasters are like, well, around half HP, let's say. So it's still quite daunting for Slaanesh to try and get through, but plenty of cavalry. Slaanesh, yeah, Sigvald doing quite healthy. The Slaanesh Chosen suffering, but they're still around, at least for the time being. Let's see, these knights are just like chasing Fireborn. They're going to nope out from the spear support and then subsequently charge the other spear support that's unbraced here. Get a decent little charge there. Pull back out. Another Earthblood for the Archmage. This Swordmaster, yeah, very close to its healing cap. It's very impressive when you can heal cap an infantry unit, to be honest. It's generally, infantry tend to have a good amount of HP, right? Just as a unit class. So you're getting a lot of value in terms of the raw HP numbers, and then also, again, keeping those unit models alive is quite important into the later part of the game, and there's still more than half of these Swordmasters kicking. So quite good stuff. If you kind of think about like the model count versus the percentage HP left, like probably quite a few of those models are still, you know, at full health. So interesting, very interesting to see. Dragon swooping down once again for another rear charge. We see another Pavane here trying to control the cavalry and deal damage to them. We're going to see also a regrowth in response. So can that hold off the damage? And not sure, but I mean, again, kind of, in my opinion, dealing damage to the wrong thing here. Like, the Swordmasters are absolutely the threat in this build, and the Dragon Princes are more just to support them and keep them from getting clobbered by other things. I don't know. I'd be curious to see how this game would have turned out differently if Pigman had used Pavane exclusively on the Swordmasters, actually, just to deal damage to them. You know, the Enrage also is nice. You could potentially try and, like, pull them away from combat with some of the Knights, right? If you charge and then pull back, you could maybe pull them away from the Chosens. The Chosen are getting free hits in the back. I don't know. It would be tricky. I mean, Pigman's build doesn't really have a great response to triple Swordmasters here. It kind of ran into a buzzsaw, to be honest, but that's what happens when you're playing Rider Rohan's High Elves. Definitely scary. And the Swordmasters... The key to success here, I know, is makes Rider Rohan's heart very happy. So, definitely worth casting. Yes, Dragon Landing once again. We're going to soak up some more of these sweet cinematics as the Slaanesh Knights desperately try and stay alive. Sigvald getting exposed here in the center. Yeah. Cavalry, again, going after the Chaos Knights. The Swordmasters themselves, too. I mean, against the Knights, they have 56 attack, 50 weapon strength, with this one that's got 2 chevrons at the very least. They are being poisoned, so the weapon strength is reduced, but still, 21 AP per hit. I mean, Swordmasters are going to be dealing damage, definitely, to the Knights anytime they're fighting them in sustained melee combat. One more Pavane here on the Fireborn, and again, will it be enough to finish them off? Probably this time. I can't imagine that Rider Rohan has enough Winds of Magic left to be able to heal out of this. So, like, yeah, I got rid of the Fireborn, which is fantastic. But they're still Swordmasters. All 3 of them, technically, although one of them is just barely hanging on. These other 2, quarter HP each. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about the Pavane. I mean, the Dragon Princes technically are more expensive, but I don't know. Just from a tactical kind of perspective, like if I think about the Knights plus Whips combination fighting different unit types here, I don't know. The Knights seem like an easier prospect to finish in the late game with something like that rather than the Swordmasters. I don't know. Saurian indeed. We'll fast forward a little bit as Rider Rohan attempts to chase down the caster here. Swordmasters finish off the last of the Chosen. Sigvald heal capped. He's been able to actually avoid getting surrounded by the Swordmasters for the most part, but at this point it's really unavoidable. So he's just going to stick in melee combat. And I would honestly just pull these Spearmen out. Yeah, they're just blocking the Swordmaster's models at this point. And you see, Slaanesh. Pavane and Slaanesh actually did really good damage to that Swordmaster's there at the end. So, again, I stand by what I said earlier. If Pigman had used the Pavane against the Swordmasters, again, they're the main threat to his Chosen. The Chosen would have survived much better. And even the ones that were here did decent enough job. So you'd imagine the Swordmasters are taking a lot more damage and being pulled out of position into unfavorable situations by Pavane, then the Chosen can do even better, right? The Knights might struggle a little bit against the Dragon Princes, but it was kind of a wash on both sides, to be honest, anyway. So I don't know how much it really would have changed, but definitely an interesting battle. I mean, two like heavy infantry lines, just with magical support clashing, the healing, able to sustain those Swordmasters. Oh man, 3,000 damage value, 19,000 damage dealt. A lot of that's probably against Sigvald, but a lot of it's against the Chosen as well. Very impressive stuff. 2,000 here, 2,500 here. That might be the best combined performance for a triple Swordmaster I've ever seen. Like if you add all three of their damage values together. Very impressive stuff from Reiner Rohan, have to say. Fun times for sure. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, Chosen on this side doing fairly well. The Knights doing okay. Both the characters for Slaanesh carrying over 2,000 damage value as well, but just not quite enough there at the end for Pigman. So be sure to subscribe if you like this sort of thing, and we'll see you next time.